All right, and we're back. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About It. I am your host, doing the absolute most, your girl T from T's World, also known as T's World 93 on Instagram. And also, watch my channel T's World, not only for these podcasts, but also for your viewing pleasure, other videos that I have up for you to enjoy. And if you like this series, please give it a thumbs up and tell me all about it down in the comment section. All right, so this is actually the third podcast going in over the last few days, and I actually really enjoyed the first and second podcast, particularly the second podcast so far. But tonight we're actually going to talk about my first online date and how I was stood up. So this is another story time on the third podcast. So are you ready to talk about it? I'm ready to talk about it. So let's talk about it with T tonight. All right. So let's get right on to it. So I was actually on this dating app called Coffee Meets Bagel. Now, I don't know if you heard of this one. It's one of the lesser known ones. We are all familiar with Tinder, eHarmony, Match, POF. But I actually tried something a little different because I wanted to kind of get out of those same ones. I wasn't having any luck there. So I decided to try Coffee Meets Bagel. And with Coffee Meets Bagel, how it works is that, you set up your profile, all that stuff, and then you're given at least, I think, like somewhere between maybe 5 to 6 different prospects. And you could kind of like, get a brief look at their little profiles. And then your coffee would match their bagel. So you're the coffee, they're the bagel. Sorry, I'm a little tired. It's a little late. And you would determine like who you want to match with and things like that. And then they have like a certain amount of time to respond to you and stuff. And I don't really think I have it too much anymore, but so I happened to actually go on this guy's profile and I liked him, so I decided to go ahead and let my coffee match with his bagel. Okay. And he responded. Yeah, initial response. You know how it kicks off for most dating apps. And if you ever get a chance to try Coffee Meets Bagel, try it and see for yourself. I probably did a poor job of explaining it, but I haven't used it in a long time. So, and I'm thrilled because, I thought he was decent looking. And he actually was 29 years old at the time, and I was like, I think this was probably maybe last year or something like that. This was like maybe, I'm sorry, summer will make it 2 years, so a year and a half ago. Okay. And so there I was like about 23, and my ex and I, we had just broken up not too long ago, like around that time in that summer, that July, and we're still very good friends this day. We're still very close. But, it was a rough time. And I was just looking for somebody just to, distract and take my mind off of everything. And I think I moved into it a little too quick, but that's a whole nother topic, right? I digress. So, start talking to this cat. His name is Anthony, okay? Start talking to this cat, and he, is asking me what my interests are. I'm asking what his interests are. The typical thing, the whole flang and bang and, all of them things, okay? And now we eventually get to this part where we want to meet each other, and he initiates the date. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, all right. Before he even initiates the date, he said that he had to go to Atlanta for a family emergency. I said, oh, okay, cool, stuff like that. And then, he told me basically that he got back, and I said, oh, I hope everything's okay down there, and, he told me everything's all right and all that. But it was weird. He said, have you ever thought about coming to Atlanta to live or anything? I said, I don't know. But that was just a weird question to ask, especially, you were saying that you were local, but I didn't really think much of it. Moving on. So we're getting ready to plan this date, and mind you, I was so broke at the time. For some reason, I was dead broke. And it was a struggle for me to even get my nails done. Everything, I took the last of my money to get my nails done. I actually enlisted the help of my best friend and, her roommates at the time when they had the apartment. And so that day, I ran over there. I was running late and everything because I was already running late just getting ready for the menial stuff. But I was going to do like my hair and my makeup over there because what the plan was, I wasn't going to go totally alone to meet this guy. And my best friend that had her car at the time, she had her Jeep at the time. I enlisted them to go with me, and they said, "All right, we'll go with you. Plus, we could use a little night out in Philly and stuff like that. We could go to South Street afterward, or if you have time or whatever, or we'll drop you off, let you deal with him, and we'll go cruise around the city. We don't want you going by yourself either." It was my best friend and her two roommates. One of them, he was a gay guy, and the other one, she was young at the time, and she was staying with them. And my best friend did my makeup, and the other girl, we'll call her Vanessa. Vanessa did my hair and everything, and the gay guy, we'll call him, I don't know, we'll call him Tommy. Tommy was actually, running around getting himself ready and all that stuff. And we just made a whole event out of it. And, and before then, they actually helped me pick out my outfit and, all that stuff, even days before. And then I came over to their house, because we did the final touches. They got me ready. My face was beat. I was ready to go, but I was so nervous. And I remember before we left the house, I called several times. Because I always like to call my dates and, let them know, hey, I'm on my way, or, and give them a heads up because you never know, they could be stuck in traffic, something happens, or if something happened with me, I will tell them. And at first he wasn't really answering, and then he started answering. He said, okay, I'll meet you there, so I said, all right. I had a funny feeling inside, but something said, all right, we'll just go ahead. And, all right, we get in the Jeep, gas up the jet, we go, and we cross the bridge, we get into the city now. Okay, so we're trying to find the place. It was a steakhouse that we went to, and the food is actually very good, but I'll get to that later. And what they did, they let me out first, and I looked cute. I had on my little summer dress, my hair was flipped up, my makeup was done, everything. Go into the restaurant, I sit at the bar, waiting, look at the menus, and while my friends go park, right? So, okay, they walk in, but the whole object is they can't make it known that they know me. They're like at a table away. Not only, it doesn't get intimidating, but at least they could scope out who this guy is. And if he's a creep, they could get me out of there in a New York minute, okay? So, they come in, okay. The guy still is not answering, still not picking up. I'm calling several times. I'm like, oh no. Then I heard I don't know if I heard something or he said his phone messed up or something, but it sounded kind of foggy. I have a tight feeling in my stomach. I'm not liking where this is going. So, but I keep waiting, and I start getting hungry. And the sad thing is I'm dead broke. Like, I have no money to really order myself really anything. Not even on my credit cards. Like, I was dead broke. Flat broke. And thank God my friends were there. I barely even if I was to go by myself, I wouldn't have had train fare to come back home. Like, probably. I didn't want to be stranded out in Philly, so thank God they were there. And we were in Old City, a nice, quaint steakhouse in Old City, the Old City section of Philadelphia. And I'm looking around. I'm trying to see if he's going to walk in any minute. Maybe his phone died, something. I'm just looking around, scoping around the place. And maybe like 30 minutes or I don't know, time had passed. And I was like, oh my goodness, I don't think he's coming. After some time, so I go ahead and I go sit with my people. And we chop it up, we made it work though with our limited funds. We had a good time, a good meal. We shared the food. We had everything from macaroni cheese to the mashed potatoes, a little bit of steak here and there. Oh my God. It was amazing. The food was really good. And So that was the highlight of it all. And I turned to them and I said, you know what, maybe in a way it was a blessing in disguise. We got to know a really nice place. And then on top of that, we're spending time with each other and this is a nice night out. And then we'll just walk it off on South Street. How's that? And everybody agreed, cool. So, I maybe call him back like maybe one more time and then I say, you know what, just forget about it. And we spend the rest of our night going on South Street. And, we're having a funky old time, taking pictures by Penn's Landing and everything. But then the night turns sour when we get to our designated parking spot and my best friend's car was towed. And that was a feat in itself, and that's a whole nother discussion. But, it took her several days to get the car out with some help. But it was a night that went from bad to worse. And, my ex had to come get us in the city. And thank God for him, because we were stranded out there. We could have opted to take the train home, but then we probably have to Uber back to the apartment. And we were so low on money and we didn't think this was going to happen. And thank God I didn't leave like my purse or my belongings in the car. That's why it's always good to keep everything on you. And so, but he came back, saved the day, got us. And my best friend, she's crying. We're trying to comfort her. And also, my best friend was my ex's cousin through marriage. So their family, and he also lived at the apartment too. And so, yeah, it was all four of them. And I would frequently visit. So, and especially at the time that my ex and I were dating. And it was just a bad night. And low key, I felt like it was my fault because I, dragged them all the way out there. And, but it was just a night of poor decisions, poor mistakes, and just misfortune on our part. But in the end, it truly made our friendship stronger. And especially my best friend, if she's listening to this, she's probably going to be like, oh my goodness, but I hope she's smiling from ear to ear that it was a challenging night, but we made it through that night. And I was distraught because not only I was stood up, but then those old feelings and seeing my ex again and, and we have a lot of history, but at the same time, it was just so great to see him and he got us out of a jam. But at the same time, I was so hurt inside because of everything that happened. And I was embarrassed because of the date and how everything just collapsed. But all in all, we slept it off. We dealt with it. And, eventually we got the car back for her. And it was just a topsy-turvy night. But that, ladies and gentlemen, was the date night from hell. The online date night from hell. And I don't think I really too much used Coffee Meets Bagel after that. And in fact, the following day, I think he called me, but I didn't answer. I was so pissed, but I should have answered anyway. But I had a feeling that he was playing games. He didn't want to show up, or something was weird about this guy for some reason. And before I forget, before I get out of here, I actually looked on Facebook to see if I found any profiles, and it turned out that there was two profiles of him, one where he was thinner and one where he was heavier. And I'm like, okay, which one? Now, the past one was the heavier one, but sometimes you never can tell and you never know. Like, is this dude really who he says he is? Is he some sicko? Did I dodge a bullet? And I'm thinking to myself, maybe I did. Maybe I did dodge a bullet. But the moral of the story, kiddies, be safe. Know who you're fraternizing with, who you're dealing with, and all of those things under the sun, okay? So next time you decide to go on an online date, and I'll also talk about another one that went somewhat well, but at the end, it's actually going to get strange at the end. But that's a whole nother story time. But yeah, guys, I had so much fun with this one. I was almost scared off of online dating from this whole experience. But like I said, it really taught me a lot. And it was one hell of a ride, especially the way the night it ended. But in the end, my ex saved the day. And if he's listening to this, you know what? I will kiss you on the cheek and pat you on the back for that, because you was the real MVP for that. and don't you forget it. All right, but guys, it's been real. Thank you so much for joining me. I enjoyed talking to you all. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. And remember to ring a ding ding so you don't miss a thing. Click on that notification bell so the T Tribe will sound and come at my beck and call. Yes, come to the tribal council, come to the meeting so we could all gather and listen to this stuff. You can listen to me tell all my business. But also provide you with some life lessons and some fun stuff along the way. But guys, that is it. Thank you so much for listening and taking the time out to actually live through this nightmare with me. Well, revisit it. But I've seen better days. But all right, guys, remember to please follow me on Instagram at teesworld93. Watch my YouTube channel, Tees World, for more videos, more fun, and more stuff. Until then, guys, this is T signing off. T Tribe, bang bang, bong bong, or however it go. I love y'all. Deuce. Bye. Bong.